Uh, okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening. We are broadcasting from India at this time, so that's why I said evening here. So we have Ian, who is founder of Ferrum Network, and Priyeshu with us, who is one of the co-founders of Dfyn and Router. And yeah, so Ian and Preshu, everyone wants to know about who you guys are, what is your journey, what are you building on. So yeah, I'll quickly pass on the mic to Ian first. So Ian, just tell us a little bit about your journey, like how you got into blockchain space and what exactly you are doing at the Ferrum Network.
Sure. So, first of all, thank you so much for having me. Thrilled to be here and to have just recently announced our partnership with Dfyn and Router. But to answer your question, I began my blockchain journey in early 2017 as an investor, like many of us probably started. And I was working as an attorney at the time in New York, and quickly realized there was a professional opportunity for lawyers to, you know, provide legal advice to companies in the blockchain space. So I co-founded the blockchain practice team at the firm I was working at, and shortly after, I met my who was soon to become my co-founder at Ferrum at a networking event in New York. He was building really cool technology, cross-chain, basic high-speed cross-chain interoperability solution, which seemed extremely promising. And I thought, why not? Let's dive into this. So this was back. We officially founded Ferrum in early 2018, and just been working nonstop ever since.
Nice, nice. So tell me a little bit about your investment, from where you have made most of your money.
Well, the truth is, I am not really much of a trader. I'm not much of a speculator or frankly, a risk taker. I mean, what we've done incredibly well with the projects that we've incubated. That's one of Ferrum's lines of business, essentially an incubator or advisory arm of the company. And we take investments in these early stage projects, and some of them have done incredibly well. Bondly pools, for instance, have just done tremendous gains for us. And also, by the way, we invested in the Dfyn project, which may have blown all of those previous ones out of the water. So thank you for that, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me just go back to Priyeshu, and then we can start the conversations. Priyeshu, so just tell your viewers a little bit about Dfyn and Router, and how do you see your partnership with Ferrum Network?
Okay. So Dfyn is a multi-chain AMM. It's going to be a DEX which aggregates other DEXs, and also it is going to launch on different chains. So there's going to be a Dfyn on Polygon, there's going to be a Dfyn on BSC, OKEX chain, and tens of others. That's not the mode of Dfyn. Anyone can launch a exchange on different chains. The idea behind Dfyn is to aggregate liquidity such that your orders can be fulfilled from a variety of different dexes which are spread on different chains. Now, anyone may wonder, how is this even possible? So this is where router protocol steps in. Router protocol is like the sister concern of Dfyn, and it is building a cross-chain liquidity protocol that will allow movement of assets from one chain to another. So we are working on that, and so far we have Dfyn on Polygon, and it's doing really well. We have over 200 million in liquidity. We are seeing tremendous amount of daily traded volumes, and it's going very well. Ferrum, I mean, I've always heard of Ferrum. I mean, we started project in 2020 when we started building, but I've been hearing about Ferrum from a long time, and I always used to regard Ferrum as a very good project. And after partnering with Ferrum, I realized they're not just good; they are very good project, and they have a very good strategy. They have a vision for product which they are building, and we are really glad to partner with them. We have already established our partnership, and in future there are going to be many different pools which will be Ferrum specific, and that we'll be giving out tokens of Dfyn and some tokens from Ferrum and some tokens from these projects which are participating, and there are going to be lots of farming opportunities. And then later we also see ourselves helping Ferrum in establishing cross-chain products. I mean, they're also working on their own products, but thanks to the composability offered by ERC20s and EVMs in general, there are lots of points of collaboration for both of the products. So it's a great journey and a even greater future for both of the products.
Great, great. So, Ian, your views on the partnership, and if you can tell us a little bit about like where you are currently in the journey and what's the vision?
Sure. So we're absolutely thrilled to have partnered with Dfyn and Router. This is a multi-part partnership. It started, of course, with adding liquidity to Dfyn, enabling trading on their DEX. It's going to, of course, continue with some nice sort of farming or liquidity provider rewards that we'll be announcing soon. But the part that I'm really looking forward to is the router part of the partnership. So as some may know, Ferrum has a community that oftentimes invests in early stage projects. And so one of the avenues of the partnership is to sort of help facilitate at least a part of the router fundraise, which I know is coming at some point. I'm not exactly sure when, but I know that's sort of the part of the partnership that's coming in the future, which I'm really thrilled about. The Ferrum community already loves Dfyn. In fact, when we announced the partnership, there were dozens of people saying in the Telegram, "Oh, this is great! I love this project. I've invested in this project. I use their DEX." And so the synergies came from all different directions, and the community seems to love it. So we're really excited about it.
Great, great. Ian, if you can tell us a little bit about Ferrum's next step, what are the immediate releases happening? What's the just a little bit more in detail about the Ferrum Network.
Sure. So I'll give a little history of Ferrum. Like I mentioned, we founded the project in the midst of the 2018 bear market and struggled to raise funds, and attract attention, like I think a lot of projects probably did at that time. But we persevered. We launched one of our first products, which actually an exchange in Africa. Was our first product. That is a challenging market, and we found ourselves in the position that a lot of, I think, new projects find themselves, and that is we were lacking what I would call robust utility for the token. This was shortly after our token generation event. And so my co-founder very cleverly built a solution which allows you to turn any ERC20 based token, including Ferrum, into a stakeable token. So this was pre-DeFi. There was the word DeFi did not exist yet, but this was smart contract based staking, which you see now all over the industry. And we of course launched it for the Ferrum token, but we quickly found that there was demand from other projects looking for a similar solution, because they too, maybe they had just launched their token, but there wasn't a lot of utility and they needed some sort of product. So we turned this into a white label solution. We now have probably close to 90 projects that have used the Ferrum staking technology, close to probably 50 or 60 total lock value who's gone through those staking pools over the past, say, year. And what happened is I found myself on a lot of phone calls advising founders about things other than just the staking technology. They had questions about marketing and fundraising, and want to get connected to influencers or exchanges and so on. And so that sort of evolved into what is now Ferrum Advisory Services, which is our incubator arm. We've helped launch close to 10 projects, many of which have done tremendously well. The Ferrum holders obviously have the right to invest in those projects, similar to what we'd be doing with the router project. But we're actually now on the precipice of, we were talking about all this cross-chain technology. So that its core, that is Ferrum's long-term vision, is a cross-chain, high-speed interoperability protocol, which has many parts to it. One of which, or one of the sort of early, I would say, products that is similar to this, is our forthcoming token bridge. This is about to launch. It's in the final touch-ups, and this will allow the users to swap assets between Ethereum, Binance, Smart Chain, Matic, and we'll be expanding to other chains in the near future. And the really cool thing is it's a white label product. Any team can use it, throw it up on their website. Users don't need to trust any other outside, they don't need to go to a third-party website to do a swap. And the projects can impose a small fee payable in their own native token. So that will provide additional utility for these projects' tokens and a source of revenue. So it's a very exciting product. We've already signed up 5 or 6 clients, even though it's not out yet. So we're really confident that it's going to have great product market fit. And that's coming up. There's many other things in the pipeline, but I've already spoken for a while, so I'll probably shut up now. But that's the Ferrum journey where we're at today.
God, love the excitement and passion you have shown in answering these things. So so Priyeshu, tell us a little bit about Dfyn more in detail. What are the next roadmaps you have in pipeline, and obviously a little bit about router. It seems like Ian is very excited about the router. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay. So I'll start with router. Router's mainnet is not very far away, and we are planning to launch it soon. So router mainnet is not very far. First thing, and yes, there is going to be a subsequent round of router, and it will have like very limited access to the only investors who add a lot of value will be able to get in, and of course, Ferrum will be one of them. But it won't be available. It won't be a public kind of deal like anyone can come in. It's going to be a very selective deal. Yeah, but there is going to be, because the products which we are building, they require a lot of capital, resources, and routers started with a very small raise of just around $400,000, and that was it. So we have come a very far way from there, and starting with just a raise of 400K to wherever we are now, I think that took a lot of work. And now, I mean, we are having, we are now facing situations where, the things which we want to build, the technologists which we want to hire, and the kind of marketing which we want to have, I mean, that requires funds, a lot of them. And those 400K are not really enough to build like a great team. I mean, that how expensive it is to hire great people. So we are working, we are going to raise around for that. Regarding the tech behind router, the tech is evolving, and we are seeing some good results in our simulations. So I think that once the mainnet comes out, people will get a flavor of using the router product. I mean, so far we have a product live on testnet. You can swap between stablecoins there, and a, a release on mainnet is of course going to be like a much more realistic than testnet, because I mean the real funds are involved and the bridges will be shown in action, because I mean testnet really doesn't actually addresses a lot of issues with will those will be answered and addressed in our mainnet launch. And regarding Dfyn, we are bringing a lot of different features to Dfyn in this next 1 month. One of them will be binary prediction pools, whereas wherein you can bet on the price movement of different tokens, whether they are going to go up or down in a certain time frame, and then it becomes like a game to have users, actually enjoy the exchange. And thanks to the very low cost of Matic network, and especially since Dfyn is gasless, users can bet small amounts like, let's say, $2 or $5 on whether the token price is going up or down. So some I mean these kind of things are not really possible on Ethereum, because I mean such amounts are greater than whatever the gas cost is there. So I mean, it's going to be fun for users to stick around on Dfyn. And then we are also working on introducing trading competitions, just like you have on centralized exchanges. So projects will be able to come in and offer trading competitions to their communities, and then reward people who are doing a lot of transactions, who are doing a lot of volume, and who are the largest liquidity providers. Things like that are also coming, and these are the fun parts of it. And then the tech parts of it are, the we are going to launch Dfyn on at least one new chain this month. And then we are, I mean, once the router mainnet kicks in, then we are going to unveil some products which will show how two different Define nodes on different blockchains can do a intertrade between each other, aggregate liquidity, will show proof of works, which will, I mean, illustrate how the liquidity can be aggregated on two different blockchains and products like that. We have a very interesting roadmap, and having two products which are aligned in terms of tech and which product, I mean, it's a great thing to have, a great problem to have.
Interesting. And I think like predicting with which price will go up, which price will go down, sounds fun at least. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. People I think will monitor Elon Musk account more to like figure out like which account which is going up, and then probably put money in Define. But yeah, interesting. So uh, yeah. Yeah, so tell me, like, are there any different type of use cases coming for token, like how token utility? You said like you guys innovative staking. In the same way, what I am hearing a lot in the market is that the token utility mainly people are using for staking, giving rewards as well as governance. But are there any other use cases that you think that are really good for the tokens?
Sure. So yes, the Ferrum token has a number of different utilities. The primary one, though, I think people are most excited about is the fact that you can hold Ferrum and get access to basic pre-sale opportunities in projects that we incubate. And these are not just average projects, in my view, at least. We take great care in selecting what we view to be top quality up and coming projects, and then we also give them our full support. We have a team of around 25 people at Ferrum with tremendous skills and experience, and we leverage our team. We facilitate marketing campaigns. We have a large influencer group that supports these projects as well. And we dive deep into things like thinking about their own token utility, how to generate revenue, things that we've learned over the years in the space. We leverage that on behalf of our incubated projects. And I think because of those efforts, a lot of them have performed incredibly well. Obviously, the market's down right now, but at its peak, I think at least two of the 10 projects or so that we've incubated did over 100 times returns for the private sale investors, so the Ferrum investors, and some of them did 60x, 70x. So we've had a number of, I would call, home runs. And of course, by holding Ferrum, you get access to these investment opportunities. So that's probably the most interesting, I would say, utility for the Ferrum token. But it's by no means the only one. I just mentioned the obviously we have staking, but everybody has staking now, so that's not very exciting. But the one that's coming up that I'm thrilled about is through our token bridge. So obviously we're going to launch this. It's going to be a product that a team can have as a white label on their website, but we're also going to have it for Ferrum, of course. And every swap that occurs across that chain, the user will pay a small bit of fees in Ferrum, and that Ferrum is going to be burned. So not only is it utility, but it's deflationary pressure on the token itself. So that's a very exciting one. The other thing too I should mention is we have many profitable lines of business. the incubator being one, the staking as a service. Another technology we have that's extremely interesting and valuable is our anti-bot technology, which protects communities from being dumped on by sniper bots that, they buy up the token when a project lists on Uniswap for super cheap, faster than anybody else, and they dump it on everybody else 5 minutes later. So we've solved that problem, and I won't go into too much details about that on this question, but the point is we have a lot of profitable lines of business. And what we're doing now is, or what we will be starting in about a week, is taking a portion of those profits, using it to buy back Ferrum and our governance token, FerrumX. And those that bought back Ferrum and FerrumX will actually be used to increase the APY given to stakers in this upcoming innovative staking program we have called the Crucible, which we announced last week. We're building a leaderboard because it's a lot of it's contingent on that. So once the leaderboard's out, we're going to do the Crucible. But the point is, the APYs, which started a very high base APY as it is, like 100% or something, are only going to increase as we buy back Ferrum and FerrumX and add it to the those staking pools as additional APY. A lot going on, a lot of different things. But when you've been around for 3+ years and you have all these products, this is what happens.
Yeah. In blockchain space, 3 years is a lot. I have been in this space for like actively working in this space from past 6 months, and I can see like how different it is compared to the internet world. So yeah, 3 years I think is a lot.
We've aged probably 10 years in the past 3 years. So yeah, that's how it is.
I love this meme in which it shows, "Hi, I am Dave, and I'm not very old." And then there's a 75-year-old guy, and he says, "I'm just 25."
Yeah, exactly. We've all seen that meme. There's truth to it. I mean, crypto is an intense industry. It's 24/7. There's a lot of pressure from the community to make sure the token's doing well, etc. We've been fortunate to have an amazing team behind us at Ferrum that allows us to continue to do what we do on a day-to-day basis without getting burnt out. But it also takes constant innovation too, because the technology moves so quickly. You need to all of a sudden like jump on this next thing, and it's exhausting, but we love it.
Nice. So doing the best for the community. So tell us a little bit about how was your experience of listing Ferrum on Dfyn exchange?
Oh, extremely smooth. The Dfyn team is incredible. I actually I'm quite busy running the day-to-day of Ferrum, so I don't always get to find out about these up-and-coming projects. So when Nick, who's our head of partnerships, came and said, this great opportunity has arisen, this Dfyn product, I think it's going to be huge. And I've heard that a lot, so I'm always a little skeptical, like, okay, like here it comes, like the next like big pie in the sky promise, and it's not going to materialize. But then I started to interact with the team, and they were, first of all, extremely pleasant, nice people, but also very responsive, very professional, very helpful. There's been, I think we had a small issue with like mapping tokens to Matic or something like that. And the Dfyn team, very helpful in advising on that as well. So incredible team, incredible experience. I would say anyone who is interested in adding, any project owner who's interested in adding liquidity and being a part of, the Dfyn ecosystem, highly recommend it. I think this project is also going to be a multi-year success story and is still very undervalued from a token standpoint.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And I can see that Priyeshu is smiling a lot when you said like that token is still undervalued. So yeah, I can see his smile. So yeah, Priyeshu, you want to jump in and like give us some views on about Ferrum or about Dfyn, how you are growing, and any upcoming farms that are coming on Dfyn?
So I'll talk about just one farm which is relevant to this AMA, and that should be the Ferrum farm. It's coming soon on Dfyn.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah. Ferrum is growing, Dfyn is growing, whatever anyone is getting in rewards. At this point, I think it's going to get 100x anyways. So yeah. I would like to stake in that if I got the opportunity to stake there. But Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, no
um,
comments on the pricings. Yeah, but it's going to be good.
yeah. Yeah. I think, Ian, Priyesh, should you want to say something, or should we take question from our community?
I think I'm done. I mean, let's take community questions because this AMA should be community focused as well, not
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
us.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. Suresh, do you have questions from us, from our community? Yeah.
I'll take this one. Router mainnet will be launched when all nodes are completely set up, or will you launch liquidity gateways between nodes? You already have liquidity. So, can we have defined Ferrum cross chain? Router nodes are, I mean, we are working on launching router nodes on a couple of different blockchains. And this month itself, we are going to launch router mainnet on those chains. So we are thinking of chains which are already on our testnet. You can see those nodes on testnet.routerprotocol.com, and there will be two lines of defense for liquidity. The first one will be the router pools itself, which will be single asset pools, and the second one would be the defined network pools. So the idea is to have defined nodes as a fallback option when the router nodes do not have sufficient liquidity. So that's how it's going to be. I let Ian for the first one.
Do you want me to answer one or?
Yeah, the first one.
Um, oh, got it. So the question is, Ferrum launch tokens will have the privilege of being listed first in Dfyn. Well, we have listed Ferrum, the Matic version of Ferrum, on Dfyn. However, I don't think we were the first. You already had other tokens listed there, if I'm not mistaken.
I
Uh,
think the question is about the incubated projects.
oh, I see.
Yeah.
Ferrum launched. I see. So the projects that we incubate
Yeah.
will be listed in DeFi. Yeah. Oh, yes, absolutely. So we are strongly encouraging all the upcoming projects that we are incubating to make a Matic version of their token, utilize the Ferrum token bridge, and also, of course, listing their token on Dfyn. Um, I think we've all seen the success of Dfyn, and we see the volumes and the TVL being very high. And so, in my view, there is no downside. There's only upside to listing your token on Dfyn. And so we will be pushing all the projects that have an interest and willingness to go on to Matic. And I know you're going to continue to add chains, so it shouldn't be a problem. But yes, we will be pushing them towards Dfyn. So you'll probably hear from me soon, sending you new tokens coming your way.
Excellent. So I'll take the second question. When is it planned to upgrade Define UI to change Uniswap fork style? Actually, very soon. Our team of designers is working on it along with our front end dev team. So it should get updated soon. That's it.
Oh, well, this isn't so much a question as it is a statement of fact, but I appreciate your kind words. We do work very hard to provide, excellent services and advice and value to the projects that we support. But it's really not just me. I mean, I happen to be the guy who goes on these interviews and does the TikTok videos and always in front of the community. But like I said, there's like 25 plus people behind me at Ferrum who all add tremendous value and do a ton of work for these projects. So it's not just a one man show ever. It's really a team effort. But yeah, we're very proud of the work that we've been able to do for the projects that we support. And thank you so much for your kind words. Oh, that's a good one. Yes, there's a myth that I never sleep and I'm always working. And yes, I do work hard, but it's mostly because this year I've done a bit of traveling. I'm in different time zones regularly, so it seems like I'm always up. But I've had one glass of iced coffee this morning. And to answer your second question, Taha, the thing I'm most excited about is the token bridge, hands down. This is a product that already has 6 or 7 teams that have signed up to use it before we even launch it. We just sent them a very basic rudimentary demo. I think that's partially due to the fact that the product's excellent in that it provides a means of swapping tokens across chain right on a team's website, but it shows the demand for cross-chain solutions at large. People in crypto don't want to be tethered to just one single chain. They want options, and we view this as sort of a precursor to the future of crypto, which is going to be a number of different chains, all with sort of specific use case. We already see that now, each one with their own value proposition and simple means for swapping tokens to and from all these various chains. I think until once we get to that point, we're going to start to see much more in the way of mass adoption. So we're very excited to play our little bitty role in that sort of bigger vision of bringing crypto to the masses. But yeah, the token bridge, it's coming out in about my engineers say a week, but I've been hearing that for like a month. So we'll see. We'll see. This should be about a week from now.
Are you thinking of? Yes, we are thinking of adding compound feature in future farms, and that is really feasible on Matic because of the lower gas cost. And I think that feature should come out soon in our farms. Well, that's a tricky question. Router is similar to Thorchain in some aspects. I mean, both have a similar vision to solve for the cross chain and interoperability issues, but both projects have a different approach towards solving it. Router is more about solving the problem, without actually wrapping assets. And even though Thorchain also avoids wrapping assets, but for Thorchain, kind of invites you to their ecosystem for doing swaps and transfers, while Router is trying to become a more of an open and interoperable layer where you don't have to enter router ecosystems for anything, but just for the time when you are doing a swap or a change. So that's the main difference between that. And the underlying tech is very different on both of the products. And I don't want to get into that in this AMA, but you should read about the tech of both of the projects, and they're different.
Yes. Okay. So thanks for your question, Eric. Yes, the FRM and FRMX tokens do provide you access to pre-sales in the projects that we incubate. It's actually quite different from an IDO platform like PokeStarter or many others for a few reasons. For one, an IDO platform is a means of investing in the public sale round of a particular project that gets launched on PokeStarter. Whereas in Ferrum, you're getting access to the pre-sale rounds, which means you get tokens at a greater discount. That's one. The second thing is IDO platforms like PokeStarter are first come, first serve for the most part. Or there's a lottery system or something, but it's not guaranteed that you get in. Whereas with Ferrum, we felt like that's not reasonable. Most people work and they're busy and they can't just be in front of the computer at the exact right moment that the IDO is happening. So we give people 36 hours to fill out forms and basically participate in these pre-sales. I think the third, maybe most important thing is PokerStarter doesn't. I mean, maybe they have a couple influencers or whatever that help push the project when it goes on the IDO, but they're not incubating. They're not really supporting these projects in a sort of a long-term, meaningful way. Whereas Ferrum, we're doing everything in our power to make sure these projects actually perform well post-launch. We don't always get it right, but we are really supporting these projects over the long term. All of these things together, I think, create a sort of a, I call it de-risking of the investor. And not only that, you're also getting a much bigger allocation. I mean, we give allocations. The minimum allocation for base Ferrum, if you hold the base amount of Ferrum, is $500. But there's been times when that base has gone all the way up to 1,000, and there's people that hold a lot of Ferrum and Ferrumex, and they're getting like $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 worth of investment into these pre-sales. PokerStarter doesn't do that. They give you like $50 if you got lucky. So those are the primary differences. I could go on, but I'll leave it at that. That's a question for Dfyn?
I think both of us can answer this question. So,
I see. Yeah. You go ahead. You can answer first, and then I'll answer from the Ferrum standpoint.
Okay. So Dfyn is also, Dfyn is at this moment of time, Dfyn is not a launch pad, but we do care about the gas issues, and we will ensure that all of the products which Dfyn launches on Polygon, they will be gasless, just like our farming is gasless, our exchange is gasless, and all the activity there, claiming token, sending token, everything is gasless on Dfyn. So if we ever do something like a launch pad or anything, we are going to ensure that it's also cashless. So that is sorted from our end. Mike, over to you.
Yeah, sure. So from the Ferrum standpoint, we, like I mentioned, provide people access to invest in these early stage projects. Yes, you have to send in your funds, usually USDT or what have you, which requires a little bit of gas. But since it's on an IDO platform, there's no smart contract, so there isn't like these absurd. It's just the cost of sending USDT. It's could be $5 in gas fees, or really bad, it could be like $10 in gas fees. That's not really an issue with the Ferrum incubator, but long term, the Ferrum mainnet, which is a product that we should launch at the end of this year, it takes addresses the problem of gas fees head on. The way it's designed is such that it's requires very little in gas fees. It's not gasless like Dfyn is, but it's essentially gasless because it's like 1 cent per transaction. So long term, we're thinking about that, but it's not really a problem that's an issue for our incubator.
So the Uniland integration is ongoing with Dfyn. It's not live yet, but Uniland is planning to offer flash loans for Dfyn tokens. So it's still in the works, and we'll publish a detailed Medium post once it goes live. It's hard to comment. Underlying tech white papers. Yes, we are actually working on the white paper, and it's actually taking a couple of hours of mine every day. So very soon we are going to publish it, perhaps next week or next to next week. But that is something which is taking our major portion of time right now. He read our minds.
I guess I can answer this question because
Yes.
Dfyn has the capability of doing cohorts. and we are exploring the possibility or the probability of doing a cohort with a number of different Ferrum. FAS, by the way, stands for Ferrum Advisory Services. That's our incubator. So some of the projects that we incubate, we can bring them over to Dfyn and do a cohort. People can, earn APY for participating in that. And so we should be announcing something pretty soon, I think, on that front.
Yes, exactly. This is already planned. Thank you and namaste. Okay, so I think we are done answering all the questions, and it was, I think we have one more left. Router protocol will open for this. So yes, router protocol will be, I mean, once the mainnet goes live and once some product iterations are over, it's going to be open source, and there might be some usage restrictions or licensing restrictions similar to how Uniswap has imposed over their V3, which prevents competing projects to use their source code even though it is already available and open source. So we might explore some, some rules like that and some laws like that to prevent our intellectual rights. However, the code is going to be open source because we believe in transparency, and yes, that's our plan.
It's a question we get often. We are actually building something I think that's better than a launchpad or IDO platform. It is going to be a multi-purpose interface that connects to your MetaMask, which will allow you to interact with and use many different parts of the Ferrum ecosystem. A launchpad can and likely will be built into this product, but there's other features that will be launched first. One that I'm really excited about is a new technology we've been building, which will allow participants to sell their interest, their future interest in pre-sale allocation. So say you invested in a project, but there's token vesting over 5 months, and you want your money now, but you don't have those tokens. This technology we're building will allow you to sell your interest to the future rights of those tokens in a decentralized way involving staking and other technology. So there's a lot coming with that product, and that's just one part of it. But yes, there likely will be an IDO platform component to that product at some point.
I think that was last of it. Ian, it was lovely hearing from you. Very inspiring, and how you started your company in bear market and have made it so far. And have been in the and you actually have been in this space from 3 years. Mostly people start in bull and then see the bear, but you actually started in the bear market. It's very inspiring. I hope to see that that our partnership becomes very fruitful and we are able to do wonders together also.
Likewise, it's been great. It's been great being on. It's a pleasure to speak with both of you. Thank you so much for supporting Ferrum and having us on your decks. We look forward to working with you guys for a long time going into the future.
Yeah.
Wonderful experience. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.